So let's go ahead and get started now that we have, it looks like a lot of people on the line here. Again, we want to welcome you today to our webinar, Top 10 FAQs about donor sperm, hosted by our lovely Doreen Bond, a familiar face to you who have joined our webinars in the past, who is our client services manager. I know she's been on a lot of these, kind of helping us with some of the FAQs on some of our previous webinars. So today, the webinar, we're going to go through everything here in a minute. Just a note about housekeeping, we will be recording today's webinar, and if you're not able to join for the full thing, it will be emailed out afterwards. You can share that with your loved ones too. In addition, we'll have room for questions and answers at the end. If you have any questions, feel free to submit those throughout the presentation, but we will go ahead and answer those at the end. Next slide. There we go. Thank you. So like I mentioned, today's webinar, we're going to have Doreen Bond, our client services manager, who's been part of the team for many years now. She's going to be leading that, and myself moderating the Q&A at the end, the marketing director here for Fairfax Cryobank. We're very excited to get going.
All right, well, welcome everyone. We're going to go over a variety of things today. We're going to go over the most common questions that we get asked. We're going to review some of the donor products. We're going to do a donor search demonstration and explain donor categories as well as donor selection services and discuss the resources that we have available for you. The first frequently asked question that we get is, what do ID versus non-ID donors mean? So ID donors are donors who agree to allow Fairfax Cryobank to release identifying information to donor-conceived people upon request. No information is provided to the recipients except for donor-conceived people once they have turned 18 and they're registered in our ID donor program. Since March of 2020, we've only been accepting ID donors only into our program. Non-ID donors are donors who did not agree to release identifying information to their donor-conceived person. In January of 2020, we began to ask our non-ID donors if they would like to become ID donors. That means that they would remain as non-ID on the website. If they do choose to have their information released, it would show in their summary profile, which is on their specific donor page. All the way at the bottom of that is where any updates are going to be. And when the donor-conceived person requests the ID information at 18 years, it's the same process as an ID donor, as it would be for an ID donor. The second question is, what can I see for free on the website versus what do I have to pay? So we have a lot of information available on our website. I always like to tell clients that a lot of the free information is great. You do get a lot. You get the childhood photo, the summary profile, staff impressions, the donor essay where they write about responses to something. You get the, in their own words of their response to questions. The staff impressions are, like I mentioned before, are what our staff who does the screening for the donor has observed of this donor, what their impression of interacting with this person is. You get audio clips from both the donor and the staff talking about the donor talking about themselves, and the staff again talking about the impressions of the donor. The medical profile is always free, that has the donor's medical history. And the genetic testing summary is always free. We also have Fairfax Base Match, which is free. We're going to go into that a little bit later in the presentation. Now, there's plenty of other information that we have available for purchase. This is additional information, like the personal profile, the silhouette, which is going to show a blacked out profile view of the donor's face, so you can see their features a little bit better without seeing specifics. It's really helpful if they don't have adult photos or lifetime photos. We do offer adult photos and lifetime series. As noted below, too, not all of the donors provide adult or lifetime photos, so that is only available if it's offered. There's a full audio interview. It's available on the website. It's a longer interview, which can be downloaded and saved to your computer for future use or future review if you want to listen to it again and again. As well as personality type. We collect a lot of the donor's information so that there's a lot of different things to search through and research when you're looking for a donor. We do also have a discount code provided at the end of this webinar for this information that's listed. What do I need to consider when choosing a donor? When you get started, a lot of times we recommend that you sit down and create a list of characteristics that you value and that are important to you. Those can be physical characteristics like hair color, eye color, height, the ethnic background, if you're looking for a Caucasian donor or something that matches your partner or your family. Personality, if you're looking for specific traits in a personality, like are they a reader? Are they religious? There's a lot of different traits that we collect information on that's available on the donor's profile. We have their education, if they got a additional degree like a PhD or doctorate, and the donor category. We do have over 330 donors to choose from with vials available. So if you make that list, it's going to narrow down what you're looking for. I will say, don't narrow it too much. It's good to be open-minded. Sometimes take one or two things out of your list of things that you're looking for on the website so that you don't narrow it down to just one or two donors. That's going to limit what you are able to look for. So important information to consider: the donor brand codes, the donor categories, and the specimen types. The last part is really important, but the first two are how we kind of break down the donors for you on our website. As far as donor brands, this is all under the Fairfax Cryobank umbrella. We do have some donors that are from our cryogenic laboratories location, which we acquired in 2002. And some donors that are from our Pacific Reproductive Services location, which was acquired in 2016. All of these are great quality donor cryobanks that are all, trying to think how to say this, I apologize. They're all Fairfax Cryobank, but they are notated slightly different on our website if that's something that you were previously a purchaser from Pacific Reproductive Services or cryogenic laboratories. Those all are Fairfax Cryobank now. Is there a tool I can use to help me search for a donor based on physical appearance? So we have Fairfax Face Match, as we mentioned before. This is a program on our website that's an interactive way to help you select your donor. It uses sophisticated mathematical technology to compare the shape of facial features to find a resemblance between the photos you upload and the adult photos of our donor. You can pre-select the preferred donor traits before uploading a photo. So what you do is you're going to upload a photo of you, your partner, whatever you want the donor to look like, traits that you find important, picture of Leonardo DiCaprio, whomever. On the donor search page, you're going to click on the face match. You're going to select a photo and upload it into the system to be compared to every adult donor photo. The results are presented starting with the donor who most resembles the photo. The matches are then rated based on a high, medium, and low scale, where high matches occur infrequently. All of the donor photos remain private. Excuse me. But that is a tool that we offer on our website. It's free. You can use it as many times as you want to help you find a donor with maybe similar physical traits that you're looking for. We also offer donor selection services. We have a photo match. That's a form that you're going to complete and you're going to send in pictures with. It's going to narrow your choices to the top 8 or fewer. And we're going to specifically look at the information you're requesting. So one, you can send in, there's two options for the photo match. The first option is you sending in the photos. The second option is if you're saying, I want a 6-foot, dark-haired donor with green eyes. And you are going to include what's most important, like the ancestry, what preparation type you're specifically looking for your insemination procedure, the donor's height, weight, skin tone, eye and hair color, as well as any other characteristics that you feel are important. You can also provide photos for that, but this one is a little bit more in depth. When that happens, one of our consultants goes through what information you provided and will provide you with a list of donors that match what you're looking for. That's a paid service. You can find more information about that on our website. We also have selection consultations. All of our client services representatives are trained for this. You're able to call and ask us any questions about specific donors. You can call and ask about a consultation, and you're going to get an in-depth counseling service where we're working one-on-one with you to answer your questions to the best of our abilities, provide an opinion if you ask for it that is objective. We have, we're very familiar with the website. We're constantly working on the website all day long, so we are able to direct you and show you maybe parts of the website that you may have missed, but while you're going through that selection consultation to try to help you narrow down, we're happy to answer any questions that you have. What vial types are available to choose from? So we have a variety of vial types. We have IUI vials. They're IUI premium. They're pre-washed with at least 10 million total motile cells. Since it's washed, the seminal fluid is removed prior to it being frozen. One vial can be used for one procedure. We also have ICI prepared vials. Those are not washed. They also have 10 million total motile cells as a quality standard. Because they were not washed, the seminal fluid was not removed prior to freezing. Your clinic must have the capability of washing that specimen if it is going to be used in an IUI procedure. Again, one vial can be used for one procedure. We also have ART vials or ART vials. Those are either washed or unwashed, the IUI or ICI prepared, with at least 6 million total motile cells. They can be used one vial for an IVF, or you can combine two for an in-office IUI procedure or home insemination. We also recently introduced the ICSI vials. Those are also washed or unwashed. And they are at least 3 million total motile cells and generally can be used for an IVF procedure, but that'd be something just to confirm with your physician about. Can I do the insemination at home? The short answer is yes, you absolutely can. The long answer is we'd be happy to help you with the ordering and shipping to a home address for an insemination procedure. Now, Fairfax Cryobank, the client services representatives here are not medical professionals, so any medical questions must be answered by any physician or nurse practitioner or medical professional that you're working with. If you have questions about shipping to a home address, please call our client services line. We'd be happy to direct you to the correct forms we need and provide you any advice on that. We do also have a home insemination webinar with a medical professional in our resources on our website. You can search for that. It's a great webinar that answers a lot of questions about home delivery and home insemination. What vial types can I use when doing a home insemination? So we recommend talking to your clinic or your medical professional before placing any order. But generally we would say one ICI premium vial, two ICI ART vials that can be used combined, one IUI premium vial, or two IUI ART, those are again washed vials that can be combined for an insemination procedure. What vial type should I use for an IUI procedure? For an in-office insemination, this is an IUI where they have a catheter go to your uterus for the insemination. There's one IUI premium vial can be used. You can also use the 2 IUI ART vials, one of the ICI premium vials if your clinic can wash it, removing the seminal fluid for it to be used, or the 2 ICI ART vials, which can be combined if your clinic is able to wash that. We've, in our experience, the IUI premium vials are what are recommended for the procedure. But again, check with your clinic. What vial type should I use for an ICI procedure? So this is an in-office ICI, intracervical insemination. Again, all 4 vial preparation types can be used for that. The ICI premium, which again has the 10 million cells, is not washed. The ICI ART vials, which again can be combined, also not washed. And you are able to use the IUI premium or the 2 IUI ART vials, which are washed already for an insemination procedure. They can still be used for this insemination. What vial types can I use for IVF or ICSI? So IVF, with or without ICSI, the vial types you can use. With or without, with ICSI, we have those specific ICSI unwashed vials. You can use one ICI ART vial or an ICI premium vial. Without ICSI, those are the unwashed, or I'm sorry, you can use again the one ICSI unwashed vial, the one ICI ART vial, or the one ICI premium vial. We have a note down here. It says, if your clinic can process a washed vial for use in an IVF procedure, it can increase your donor selection options. Once you are able to use our website to search for specific preparation types. At that point, you would want to, if you have a specific type that you're looking for only, that is going to limit the results of your search. So if you find out if your clinic's able to wash or not, that might increase the options of donors you have available for your donor search. So bonus frequently asked question, do we ship internationally? We are able to ship in the US. We are able to ship to a variety of countries, including the UK and Australia. We have distributors in Canada and Brazil. But if you have any specific questions, if you're working with a country, if you have questions about importing our donor sperm to a country that you're working with, please reach out to our international team by email. That email is global@fairfaxcryobank.com. They're going to be able to answer any questions that you have regarding that. What kind of monthly packages are available? So we have unlimited access packages. These are some of my favorite things that we offer. They're different packages that offer you different levels of access to our website. They're really helpful when you're looking for a donor. We also have our Club Fairfax package, which has additional benefits. And that one is especially successful if you are planning on purchasing multiple vials for family building. If you're planning on shipping multiple times, it really does pay for itself. All of our packages allow you access to the website for 90 days. The basic access starts at $109. And the additional things it includes beyond the free items would be the personal profile and the silhouette. The full access package is going to be $149. That is also going to include the personal profile, the silhouette, the full audio interview with the donor, the lifetime photos, the adult child photo sets, and the personality types of all the donors on our website. Now, Club Fairfax, again, is really beneficial if you're planning on shipping multiple times or if you're planning on buying multiple vials. The reason I say that is it includes 2 free shipping fees. Our current shipping fees are $360 per shipment for overnight and $290 for 2 business day shipping. The cost of the Club Fairfax is $499. So if you get 2 free shippings, you're getting $720 worth of shipping for the price of $499. To me, that pays for itself, but that might not be for everybody. The other option or other benefit included in Club Fairfax is if you're buying multiple vials, you can buy 5 vials at any time in the year of your benefits of Club Fairfax. Buy 3 1 month, 2 a couple months later, and you get your 6th vial for free. You can use that as many times. You have that benefit from 1 year from when you purchase the Club Fairfax. So you could buy 10 vials and you get 2 for free. But those really help when you're planning on purchasing vials, so that you have multiple options for insemination if you're wanting to make sure that you have the donor that you want. The other benefit for Club Fairfax is you get to preview new donors before others for the next 12 months. And that is, you get access to our new donors 1 week before the general public does. You get a specific email saying, hey, this donor's just been added. It's not available on our website, but that way you get a first choice for that. We have our Fairfax blog on our website. You can sign up for a Fairfax newsletter where you can get notified about more webinars and information and new donors, as well as we have our family forums where you can connect with other clients who purchased from Fairfax Cryobank, as well as find information about donors, get some updates. That's all in our forums. So when you're ready to choose your donor and place your order, you've learned all the information that I provided here. Again, this is going to get emailed to you, but our client services team representatives are going to be here to assist you. We're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, and Saturdays, 11:30 to 3:30 Eastern. Looks like we have, I know a different number for this. That's 1-800-338-8407, or this number. Emails also info@fairfaxcryobank.com. And again, for international team, we have global@fairfaxcryobank.com. And now I guess we can do the additional questions and answers here. We do have a promo code for the $149 off the full unlimited access package. That's going to be through the 29th of December.
Thank you. Thank you, Doreen. That was lovely. All right. We already have some wonderful questions rolling in, so we're going to go ahead and get started. As a reminder, you can put them in the question box or the comment box, and we can go ahead and go through those. Hopefully we can get to them all. All right, so the first one here says, if a donor only has premium vials left and no available or unwashed, washed/unwashed, does that mean he might not be a donor for much longer? He started donating in 2020, so I'm not sure how close he is to his contribution threshold.
So that's a great question. That's going to be a little bit donor specific. So if you call our client services team, we're going to be able to answer that more specifically for you. Just because though that they have low inventory, that doesn't mean that donor is no longer going to be available. Our donors have to be in an FDA required quarantine period for infectious disease testing before the vials can be released for sale. So sometimes there are gaps in inventory when we're waiting for the testing to catch up with the demand of clients purchasing.
Great. All right, so the next question here says, what do donor conceived people have access to on their own without having to go through their parents? And does access change when they turn a certain age?
That's a great question too. If they are conceived using our ID donors, and they're in the ID donor program. Once they're 18, they can reach out directly to us through that ID program. All of the donor profiles do stay available on our website indefinitely. So if you are a donor conceived person and you know your donor number or your donor ID number, you are able to search that on fairfaxcryobank.com, and we do have all the information available there. But that would be the best option. I know we have some other resources on our website for donor conceived individuals as well.
Great. All right. How many IUI premium vials do you recommend to purchase right away for a family wanting 4 kids doing in-office IUI insemination?
Oh, great question. I believe the recommendation is 4 to 5 vials per pregnancy attempt, or per pregnancy, because it can take more than one time for a pregnancy to be achieved. That's something I talked to also with your physician. We do offer a buyback program at Fairfax Cryobank, where if your vials are stored here at Fairfax and you purchase more than you need, you are able to sell them back for 50% of what you originally paid. And we do offer long-term storage if your family building plan takes more than a couple of cycles, where we're able to hold on to those vials for you. They're yours, but they'd be in the storage account until you're ready to ship.
Next one here says, when a donor donates, how do you decide what vial type is created? How can I ensure that my preferred vial type will be available later in his time in the program, excuse me.
So we can see what our client services team is able to see what's currently available for sale. We can't guarantee the future, right? Because it's going to be dependent on the donors, when things are going to be available, when the vials are produced. But our laboratories prepare a variety of vials every time the donor makes a deposit. We want to have a variety of vial preparation types available for our clients.
Another question about the vial preparation types is about the washed versus unwashed sperm. Can you explain that again or clarify it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So our vials can either come IUI prepared or ICI prepared, so washed or unwashed. The IUI vials have that seminal fluid removed. So it's just going to have the semen cells before it's frozen. The ICI vials don't have that seminal fluid removed. I like to say it's more organic. It depends on the procedure you're doing, what is needed. Your clinic's going to be able to let you know what preparation type they recommend for their procedures. And one of the questions you're going to want to ask is, do I need to have it washed or unwashed for that procedure? Generally, they'll tell you, but if they don't, it's really good to ask them for clarification, as it depends on what your clinic's able to provide, as well as what's available for the donor.
And then a follow-up question to that would be, what kind of vial you recommend for home? Can you just go through that again, the home insemination prep type recommendations?
Yeah, so really any vial can be used for home insemination. All of them are going to have semen cells for that. I think the preferred type is the ICI unwashed vial for that. But our ICI art vials can also be used. Those are unwashed and are more concentrated. Generally, they can be purchased as 2 of them. One can be used, they can be combined. Sometimes I have heard clients do an insemination at the beginning of their fertility window or their ovulation window, and at the end try to cover as much time as possible. We do, again, have a great home insemination webinar where a lot of this information is reviewed by a medical professional. I find it really helpful, and I do generally direct clients to review that, as well as talk to their clinic or medical professional with any medical questions.
And what about if you're trying to have twins, like someone in the questions is trying to get pregnant with twins?
That is a question I'm not sure how to answer, because that's going to be dependent on your medical history. I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not able to really advise on that, unfortunately.
Okay. What about surrogates? We have a question about what kind of sperm vials for surrogacy.
That is a great question. It's going to depend on the procedure that your surrogate is going to be doing. I'm not too familiar if that's generally an IVF procedure or not, but that would be a great question for your clinic for clarification on that if you are searching down the surrogacy route.
Great. All right. Shifting gears a bit, we have a couple questions coming in about how we screen these donors and how is the information of these donors verified? So we have a couple questions about that topic.
Absolutely. Do you have a specific one or just in general?
How do we verify the information donors provide?
So we have a very strict screening process. Less than 1% of all donors or all potential donors make it through our program to become actual donors when they're screened. So we're very strict about that. And it's a very long process from when they apply to become a donor. But we do verify their education by transcripts. We do background checks. We provide psychological evaluations. And the medical information is self-provided, but we ask it a variety of different ways and a variety of times for cross-referencing to make sure that we're getting the truth from our screen donors. They have a physical. All the information that's collected is going to be reviewed by our medical team before that donor is added to the program. We also have a webinar specifically about the screening and the verifying of that information. A lot of it's also on our website, how we go through that, but we are very strict about the donor screening.
Thank you. If a donor ran out of vials, is there a chance there will be more?
So that's a great question. It's also dependent on the donor and that specific situation. Because we have that buyback program I mentioned before, donor vials can become available if they're sold back to us and able to be sold to clients. So inventory is always changing. I always say never completely discount a donor for that. Like there was always a possibility that donor could become available in the future. I've seen donors discontinue the program and then rejoin in the program. There's a variety of ways that can happen, but inventory always changes for our donors, so it's hard to say.
If I purchase a vial but don't use it right away and the donor reaches the family limit in the meantime, will I still be able to use the vial after that limit is reached?
If you've purchased it and you own the vial, yes, you'd still be able to ship it to you. There are a little bit different regulations internationally, so we would have to check that. But we do follow country regulations. I know UK has family limits, and so does Australia about donors. So we do monitor that very carefully.
How often or what's the average wait time that you will be adding new donors to your site?
We add donors several times a month. It really just depends on when they graduate the screening and have vials available. But anywhere from, I've seen like 2 to 15 donors are added per month.
Okay, we have a question here about someone sees that they see on the donor profiles that it includes positive pregnancy reported. Does that mean that there was an actual pregnancy reported to his donor sperm, from his donor sperm to Fairfax?
Correct, yes. We recommend or require in the paperwork that clients fill out that they report any pregnancies or births to us. We do track that information. There's a variety of ways that pregnancies or births can be reported to Fairfax Cryobank. We send paperwork with every order. There's a portal on our website. You can also email or call to notify us about any pregnancy or birth. We don't release any specific information to our clients when they inquire about pregnancy ranges or birth ranges. We don't provide, like there's 3 in Ohio or anything specific like that. We're able to provide a range like, oh, they have 5 to 10 reported pregnancies or births at this time. that's the information we're able to provide. Not all donors are going to have a pregnancy or birth reported, especially if they just were added to the program recently in the last month or couple months. We generally anticipate they wouldn't have a pregnancy or birth reported until about a year after they've been added to our program. Our experience is a lot of clients wait until their children are born before they notify us.
Okay. Next question says, for those doing IVF with a Fairfax donor sperm, once your family is complete, is it legally allowed to donate any remaining embryos?
So we do work with embryo donation programs, but that is going to be up to you what you are going to want to do with the embryos. We'd be able to assist you with shipping if they're stored here at Fairfax, or recommend the program that we have worked with before, which I believe is Snowflake's embryo adoption. I know there's other programs out there. You're gonna have to find the right and correct program for your family and your situation and what you're okay with. But yes, we're very happy to help with that.
All right, the next question is about CMV. Can you talk about the CMV status, what positive and negative means, and how to consider it in light with your own status as the person wanting to get pregnant going through IUI?
Gotcha. Okay. So some of that is going to be a question for your clinic or your medical professional. CMV is, and I always say this wrong, so I apologize if I mispronounce it, but it's cytomegalovirus. Completely said that wrong. But it's a virus that's in the same family as chickenpox. Most people acquire it and have no idea because it presents like the common cold. It can have serious side effects during a pregnancy for fetal development if that's contracted during that, which is why that's something that fertility clinics do look for the CMV status of our donors. Now we screen our donors for that. They are receiving infectious disease testing on a regular basis throughout their time in the program. And every single vial is going to have the CMV status associated with that. If the donor is CMV positive, meaning they already have the antibodies for CMV, they've contracted it at some point and their body has the antibodies, that's going to be on their profile. If they're CMV negative, meaning they have not yet contracted any antibodies for CMV or had that virus. Whether or not you should get tested for that, that's going to be a question for your clinics. It's my understanding a lot of clinics require it so that you are aware of what you need to purchase if you're using donor sperm. But I would start with your clinic to find out what your status is and what they recommend. But we do have that information available on our website if the donor is CMV positive or negative.
If a pregnancy is reported, but it did not result in a live birth, is that info available?
That's not information we would release to an inquiring party. If there's any medical updates or concerns that you have with a donor that you've purchased from Fairfax Cryobank, please reach out to us. Our medical team, including our genetic counselor, Suzanne, are going to get back to you and see if that's something, start an investigation about that donor, if that's something that we need to look into further. I know any medical update really that you have with any donor pregnancy or donor conceived child from our donors, please give us a call so that we can investigate. What we do if there is a medical concern is we're gonna pause all sales of that donor. We're gonna investigate to see if that's something that's maternal from the mom side of the family or from the paternal donor side of the biology. If it's something that we can pinpoint as the paternal side or from the donor, we're gonna not be able to sell that. We're gonna notify any clients that purchased, as well as clinics that had clients that purchased that donor.
And we have a question about asking about vials. It takes, how many they recommend for a one try?
I've heard it takes 4 vials, well, 4 vials for one pregnancy. It can be 1 vial for one insemination procedure, 2 if you're using the ART vials.
And what about another question about IVF? How many vials we recommend for that?
I believe it is just 1, but that again is a question for your clinic. My understanding would be like the ICSI vials or the ART vials, you could use just 1 for an IVF procedure.
Okay. And then when a pregnancy is reported, are they followed up with to confirm there was a birth?
Not necessarily. We do recommend that you confirm, you know, if I'm talking to somebody on the phone and they're reporting that, I do ask that they call back. It is in the paperwork you sign to report any births as well as pregnancies. But we don't necessarily follow up. That is the client's responsibility to report that information.
How old are the donor samples?
So all of our donors have an FDA required or their vials have an FDA required quarantine period of 6 months. So at minimum, all the vials are at least 6 months old if they're available for sale on our website. They generally can be older than that. But once the donor sperm is frozen and remains frozen, it can be frozen and used for many months and years in the future, as long as it's kept at the correct temperature, which we do.
All right, and can you talk a little bit about mental health screening and psychological kind of testing that we do for donors? We have a couple questions around that.
Absolutely. So our donors receive psychological evaluations. That is where we're evaluating, this is during the screening process. That's where we're evaluating any psychopathy in the donor. We have our medical team review those evaluation results to see if that donor is still going to be able to continue in our program. If there are any signs of psychopathy, I can't talk today, apologize. We do make a medical recommendation for that donor and refer them for any help needed. We also inquire about the medical histories of the donor's family, and we do ask questions about the mental mental health history of their family members as well, because there are some family links to that, my understanding.
Okay, thanks. Is there a correlation between success rate and how old the sperm vial is?
I don't believe that either has any effect on that. It's success rates are a little difficult because every single person who's having an insemination procedure has a different fertility situation. And different inseminations and procedures have different outcomes. So it's really hard for us to monitor a success rate per se, because there's so many factors that go into that. But the length that a donor vial has been frozen and remained frozen is not a variable for that. But that shouldn't affect the ability to achieve a pregnancy.
Okay, and then it says here, can the family forum be used to locate sibling vials?
Yes, it can. We also have a reactivation program if your donor is no longer actively participating in our program and you have a child with them already, with that donor vials already. We're able to inquire if the donor would be willing to come back to provide vials specifically for you. That's a paid service that we offer. But the family forums is always the recommendation of a first choice of if you're looking for sibling vials and we don't have any, you can check here to see if there's anybody who has vials they don't need, and you can connect with other people who use the same donor.
And what is recommended regarding genetic testing?
For genetic testing, we have all the genetic testing on our website. I know we have very expansive panels of genetic testing. I think our newest one is up to 500 and some traits that are tested. there. But it's going to vary donor to donor what was available at the time that donor joined the program. But you're able to review that. That's free information on the donor's profile, available as a PDF download. You can also send that to your clinic or any medical professional to review against your own genetic testing, or if they had any recommendations about that. We do have a genetic counselor on staff, Suzanne. She's wonderful. And she's able to assist any of you with genetic questions, if you have a genetic trait that you're inquiring about. Now, we do test for pediatric recessive traits, mostly through our genetic testing, so not every possible trait is tested.
Great. Well, I think that's all we have time for today. We had some great questions. If there are additional questions that you didn't get to review with during today, feel free to call or email our client services team, as you mentioned. And take care. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. And use that promo code for that full access. That's going to be a great, useful tool.
Bye.